What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jew. We are back here with another video, and it is time, man, that I update you guys on my Nismo 370Z with the 2JZ, man. It's been forever, but let's hop right into this video. Let me show you what I have going on. So without further ado, we do have a lot of updates that I have made. As you guys can see, I actually have the other turbo, or my first turbo that I bought, the more expensive one. And I actually came to the conclusion that I don't think that this one is bad. I haven't tested it yet, but I will do that later in this video. It'll probably be tomorrow for me, but nonetheless, I did make a lot of changes. So the first thing that you guys probably can notice is right here at the top, I have this like device, and no, this is not an oil restrictor. What this is, it's called an OPR. Basically what that is, it's an oil pressure regulator. And the reason why I say I think the turbo was blown before is just because the turbo was actually pushing oil from the bearings, and it was like dripping down from here, from the front of the turbo. So it was causing the car to smoke because the oil was dripping onto the manifold, blah, blah, blah. But basically, I think the engine is producing too much oil pressure for this turbo. And when I did more research and talked to a few people, they told me that for dual ball bearing turbos or even ball bearing turbos, they don't require a lot of oil pressure. So that actually would make perfect sense, because when I first initially turned this engine on, my old tuner told me that the engine is running about, I want to say 4 to 5 bars of oil pressure, and I guess in translation to PSI, that's about 60 and up. So that's a lot of oil pressure, which is great for the motor, but as far as the turbo, that's not good at all. So the turbo is rated to only run about, I believe it's 40 or below, somewhere around there of PSI oil pressure. So what this does, this actually regulates the oil pressure that's coming into it, so that way when it goes into the turbo, it only gives out 40 PSI. So I think that the turbo is good. I think that it just was receiving too much oil from the engine, and I hope that makes sense for you guys out there. I'm really trying to kind of like say that in layman's terms, but long story short, I did do that. I also ended up changing my turbo feed, so I shortened the line just because, you know, of routing, stuff like that. I have the same coolant lines that I need for this turbo, so I have the coolant feed on the right side here, which is the silver line, and then over on the left I have a black line which is wrapped in some heat wrap. So I did go ahead and put those on. I put my drain on, and I did some kind of like ghetto rigging as far as my as far as tying it away, because it's really close to the manifold here. So I did my best to really just like pull it away. So I'm hoping that that'll be good as well. Basically now I'm pretty much done as far as all of that. I have the downpipe and the exhaust on again, because another reason why I didn't want to switch turbos to the other turbo, with the other turbo having like a Marmon flange and not a V-band flange, I would have had to change my exhaust setup. So with this turbo, everything's already fabbed up for it, even the compressor side. When I put on the compressor side, it actually will bolt on to my intercooler just like normal. So that's another reason why I didn't really want to go with another turbo or anything like that. Another reason actually I just thought about is this brake line, which is already bent out of the way, right? But for the turbo that I am using now, this will work. But with the new turbo, it actually hit that, so I would have had to like relocate the brake line, which wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but it is another thing that I would have done. You know, it just kind of makes the list a little bit longer. So I will test this later this video and let you guys know if this worked or not. I guess another thing that I did wire up my fans. So previously, before I could turn on the car, it would run, but the fans would never turn on. I wired it to a switch, so I'm gonna leave it like that for now until I get everything working and driving how I want, you know, get it tuned, etc. And then once I get it where I want, then I'm gonna wire it into the ECU. That way the ECU can control when the fan wants to turn on, when it's gonna turn off. But for now, I'll just leave it on the switch. That's totally fine. That's how my 240 with the RB25 was, and it worked no problem. I never had that wired into the ECU, so that was fine. So that's kind of like the update on this car. I'm gonna keep this turbo and test this OPR and really hope and pray that this works for me, because I really, again, I don't wanna have to go to another turbo setup just because everything is already fabbed up. I paid for everything to be fabbed up for this turbo in particular. Let me know what you guys think about that. I did try to heat wrap the lines. I bought some heat wrap. It wasn't silver, unfortunately, just because everything else is already silver, but that's all right. You know, the whole point is to basically protect the lines. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my update. I don't really have anything else that I did on this car. So yeah, as far as the M4 though, guys, you guys loved that video and you loved that car. I love it too. All of the cars that I saw 2 M3s and I saw 1 M4 at the very end. The first M3 was a white one and that one was completely clapped out. It had so many warning lights on the dash and it just wasn't a good car. You know, interior was all torn apart, etc. So definitely not going to be buying that car. The second M3 that we looked at, which was the black one on those crazy looking wheels, that one was okay. You know, it had higher mileage, but as far as like dash lights, there wasn't any dash lights. The only mods that that car had was an exhaust, so I would feel a little bit more comfortable to buy that one, except for the mileage. The mileage was like 105,000 miles, so that's a lot of miles. The last car that we looked at was a BMW M4, which is a two-door. Very, very, very good looking car. It was white, which is like one of my kind of favorite colors for BMWs because it just, you really can see the body lines really well. I feel like it looks aggressive, so I liked that car. The only downside to that is it was heavily modified. And I know that may not sound like a downside to some people, but you know, the car had a tire on it. It also had intakes, it had, it might have had exhaust, and it also had a tune. You know, I did a pull in third gear and it literally got loose in third gear. So as cool as that is, I wouldn't really feel comfortable because I don't know what's really done to that car as far as like, you know, crank hub, anything, you know, I'm not sure. So I wouldn't really feel comfortable buying it. It did have really low mileage and it was a 2018. So it also did have Apple CarPlay. But again, I would feel comfortable buying a stock-ish M4 or M3. That way I can do my own mods and you know, if something happens, I can't be mad at anybody but myself, right? I think I'm gonna hold off on trying to buy an F80 or F82 for later, but I am also going to be keeping both of these cars. I'm gonna be keeping my 350Z Nismo, and I'm also gonna be definitely keeping this 370Z Nismo. I haven't even really drove this car yet. I know for a fact I'm never selling my 370, and after thinking about it and talking to like my family and everything, I don't think I can sell my 350Z Nismo either, just because it took me so long to be able to get and find this car. And for those who don't know, I feel like everybody always says it, but they only made 1,613 models of the Nismos. And I also don't know how many they made in this red right here. With all that being said, I just think that it would be really stupid of me to get rid of it, especially for like how much I bought it for, how long it took me to buy it. Like it, you know, it just wouldn't make sense. And this car is not hurting my pockets at all by it even just sitting here. None of these cars are. So I think I'm just gonna be patient, kind of wait my turn, wait my time. And the F80 or the F82 for sure will be my next daily car. I want another daily car to replace my IS300. For those who don't know, I have a 2002 Lexus IS300 that's outside. You guys can't see it right now, but there's nothing wrong with that car either. It's just, you know, I think me getting older, I just want to be able to get in something like a little bit nicer, a little bit more comfortable, stylish as well. So I think that's kind of mainly the reason why I want to get another car. But yeah, I don't need one, but I do want one. So you guys already know how that is. But with all that being said, man, I think I'm going to hold off. I'm going to test this car and then I will update you guys later and I'll kind of let you know. So fingers crossed for me. If you guys can leave some positive words in the comments down below, also drop a like on this video for me, man, because your boy is tired of messing with this thing, man. I mean, I haven't even drove it. For the amount of times I've really taken this thing apart and like did everything, I haven't drove it yet. I'm exhausted. I've been wrenching a lot off camera. You guys have seen, you know, the last time you saw this car, I had another turbo on it, which is actually over here. By the way, if you guys are interested in this turbo right here, this is a BorgWarner S369SXE. It's a T4 turbo. It is twin scroll, so if you have a twin scroll manifold, it will spool very, very fast. The back housing is a 1.00 AR with a Marmon flange, and I do have the clamp and everything for it with the thing, so you can like make a downpipe. It does have a 90 vibrant coupler here welded on with this little thing for the HD clamp. So it is a good turbo. I would be selling this turbo for $800. Otherwise, if nobody is interested, I probably would raffle this thing off. So if you guys are either interested in buying it, comment on the video, or if you think I should raffle this turbo and you would be interested to enter in, comment on this video. I probably would do, since I only want $800, I probably would do like $50 a ticket. So I think that's what, like 18 spots. Let me know either or, man. I don't need this turbo. I would keep it for the 350Z, but there's a couple problems. One, it's not air cooled. So if I do a mid-mount turbo kit on this car, I would need to do some type of like scavenger pump. And I don't want to do that because that's just loud and I don't want to do that. It's just too much. So for that reason, I won't be doing it. And then also this compressor housing right here is just really big in diameter. So as far as like mid-mount turbo kits for this car, again, that's not going to work. It's not really going to fit under there that well. So this would be good for like a 2JZ, 1JZ, RB25, RB20, RB26, you know, KA, SR, anything like that. Or if you're doing like some type of top mount turbo kit and you have room for it. It's a good turbo. There is no shaft play. Everything is good. Also, I forgot to mention, this is a journal bearing turbo. So it's not dual ball bearing. It's not all fancy. It just has an oil feed and an oil drain, which you guys can see. That's the drain right there. And then the feed is obviously on the other side where that nipple is. So let me know on that. But on that note, again, like I said, let me go ahead and test this car. And fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. And the last thing I actually need to update you guys on this car, you guys can see I have a wheel on right there. I don't have a wheel on right there, which is right here. And on the other side, we are actually missing a wheel as well. So I did drop off my last wheel right here to my guy, and he is gonna be getting this wheel fixed. So if you guys don't know the story on that car, or not that car, on the wheels, I bought these wheels initially for this car, but when I bought them and put them on, because I bought them like 3-4 hours away from me, when I got home and put them on, one wheel was actually bent. And it sucks because it actually isn't bent like around the rim to where like any shop could do that and fix it. It's actually bent from the center. It really sucked because there's not a lot of places that can fix that. But luckily, my friend knows a friend, and he apparently specializes in that. So he's fixing that for me. So I should have that wheel back here shortly. Just want to kind of let you guys know that. But yeah, man, if you guys are excited again, drop a like. I'll update you guys in the next clip. Alright guys, good and bad news. So good news is the turbo is no longer leaking from here. So as you guys saw from the footage, I don't have any oil residue coming from the compressor housing itself, which is really good. That was what I was hoping for. But the bad news is I ended up having to make a new oil drain line, and I guess in doing so I might have just like shortened it a little bit too much. And basically the pull at the bottom, kind of like where you see the fitting, It's at too much of an angle to where it's leaking from the angle. It's actually not a bad thing because I was looking at this line and I hate kind of like how tight and short it is. So I think the longer that this line is, the easier I would actually be able to pull it away, and then actually the less stress it would have at the bottom. So I think I'm going to redo my line, and unfortunately, again, since I did it too short, I need to buy more line. So today I'm kind of at a stopping point because all of the line that I have over here, all of this right here, all this cut up line and stuff, everything's too short. So I don't have enough material basically to make a longer line, and I'll just make it longer than I need to. That case, that way it doesn't happen again. So like I said, good and bad news. It kind of sucks because if everything kind of went as planned, I could have tried to tune it tonight, but it's not the end of the world, you know, baby steps. But hey man, the OPR it looks like it's putting in work. I mean, the compressor housing wasn't really spinning it wasn't really spinning at all, as you guys saw, so I'm assuming that's all right. I mean, at this point, man, I don't know, I'm learning. But next step, take off the oil drain line, get a longer one made, and install everything again and tie it away. And actually, like I said, it'll be better that way. It'll be a lot less closer to the manifold right here, and I'll feel a lot more comfortable. This man got me in the M, man. Scaring everybody in sight. Yo, that was a flame. She is scared as hell up. Yo, you're a menace to society, bro.
I was gonna stay open as long as I live.
If you guys ever wonder if you wanna how to afford an M, you gotta go to McDonald's, man.
Hey, bro. McDonald's and ramen.
McDonald's and ramen.
For $1.
My phone.
Space. I hit that bit.
Yo. That's so deep, bro. I see. Got a little 350, 240. Okay. All right, guys. Scratch everything I just said about this thing. This thing is actually sold. I'm about to take it up to right now to meet a guy to sell it. So this thing is not for sale. I'm sorry. Long story short, guys, I think that I did end up fixing the turbo issue. So the turbo is now good. It's not leaking, as you guys saw from like all of the footage. But unfortunately, I believe my drain, the turbo drain, is just having some issues. So like when I turn the car on and it runs for a little bit, it doesn't smoke at first, but after about like 2 minutes, it does start to kind of like smoke from the cartridge like underneath. So I'm thinking that like the oil is just kind of like piling up and can't really drain fast enough. So I need to kind of rework that. But other than that, I mean, it is good news that everything is pretty much done. So I'm gonna try to do my best again, get this thing done this week, man. It's been such a project with this thing, but you know, I'm a really firm believer in like doing everything myself and doing everything kind of like in-house per se. So I'm gonna keep working at it till I get it done. Just wanted to update you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.